37-19 is your final score as the Eagles fall to the Rams at home and start the season 0-2. We are going to break it down for you here on the Postgame Show presented by Ricoh. I'm Amy Campbell. I'm joined by Fran Duffy and by Ike Reese. We are coming to you from 3 different locations to give you one cohesive show. We'll also be joined by Eagles insider Dave Spinero. And Ike, let's just start here. Big picture. Eagles start, get behind to start the game. They keep it, they're able to come back, get within, oh my goodness, I'm so flustered by this game. All right, we have a lot to discuss. They're able to get close at the end, but they were not able to ever take the lead in this one. Why don't you start saying some words about this game?
Well, I think it's fairly obvious. You know, the Eagles basically, for the second week in a row, beat themselves. I mean, the only difference this week was they didn't wait till when they were up 17-0. It started off from the opening drive. I mean, the Miles Sanders fumble there on the opening drive, and to put the Rams right there in scoring territory, the Eagles were basically climbing uphill from that point on. Rams able to go up 21-3 after one quarter, and from that point, you're basically pressing, trying to get back into the game. They were able to get within 5 with the ball in the red zone, and boom, another self-inflicted wound. Carson Wentz throwing a touchdown in the end zone, a throw where you have to make a better throw. I'm not going to say it was a bad decision. You just need to make a better throw there to J.J. Arcega-Whiteside if you're going to make that throw. Big-time quarterbacks certainly have confidence in their arm, and they take a risk on throws like that, and they often come through. And that's a throw there that Carson is capable of making. He needed to make that throw probably a second sooner than what he did. And that DB was able to break on it, Amy. And I think from that point, that really took the sail out of the team. They didn't necessarily recover fully after that. I know they had another opportunity when they were down in the red zone where they had to settle for a field goal. But really, to me, by that point, that interception took a lot out of this team.
Yeah, it definitely seemed to take the wind out of their sails there. And, of course, without the crowd noise can only do so much. And I'm interested to hear Dave Spinero's thoughts on that in a second. But, Fran, let's look at this Rams offense, the Sean McVay offense that really had the Eagles defense looking pretty confused, at least in that first half. Total net yards for the Rams, 449. And the rushing yards for the Rams, 191 rushing yards. It seemed like they were really able to just impose their will on this Eagles defense.
Yeah, I mean, this defense, or this offense, has an identity. You're right. I mean, we talked about it this week on Eagles Game Plan. Ike, I thought you did a great job of breaking down what makes them so effective and what the Eagles needed to be able to stop them. And it required a lot of discipline at the second and third level. Look, I'm going to wait until I watch the film on Monday morning to really take away what I saw from this. But to me, I mean, the Eagles defense, obviously, they couldn't stop anybody in the first drive, or the first half. I mean, what did Jared Goff start 13 for 13? You talked about the numbers, Amy. I mean, the offense, they had their way with the Eagles defense. Running the ball, throwing the ball, play action, gadget plays. I mean, everything they wanted, they took. They were great on third down. They were great in the red zone. You thought the opening drive, well, it's just they had the short field. All right, let's get them back the next one. No, they marched right down the field. They score again. Like I said, everything was working on all cylinders for this LA Rams offense. They had the Eagles' number in the first half. I was glad that the defense was able to bounce back. The offense showed some resiliency. They were good in the first half. They stayed with it. They didn't bail in the run game. They showed that they were willing to stick with it. They got within a score. And then they mustered just a field goal in the second half. I mean, it was a tale of 2 halves where you saw the defense really kind of crumble in the first half. The offense held up their end, and then the situations flopped at halftime.
Yeah, and you mentioned Jared Goff, that 13 for 13 start to the game. That's the best start for him in his career, the most accurate he's been in his career. All right, let's go to Dave Spinero now, who is on the scene. Dave, take me through just the atmosphere, what you observed from the guys in terms of the energy, the body language, and the ups and downs of this game and how they handled it without the fan support there.
Yeah, there's not a lot of atmosphere, Amy. It is the crowd. It's almost like a murmur sound. It's not a loud, boisterous crowd. You really hear from the stands, and I spent a little time toward the end of the game in the stands. You hear the sidelines. So there is no juice at all, obviously, from the pumped-in noise. And the Eagles just haven't played these 2 games with that fevered pitch that they need to play with. So today, an extremely disappointing start to the home season. I disagree with Ike. I don't think the Eagles gave this game away. They certainly made a lot of mistakes. But I thought, look, if Cooper Kupp doesn't fumble a punt return, this game is a lot worse than it already is here. So, I mean, I think the Eagles were unable to get off the field defensively. And then offensively, after scoring 17 points last week, they only scored 19 points this week. So there is a need for something to wake this football team up and have it play with its, hair on fire. You ran through some numbers, 191 rushing yards. Where are the linebackers? Tyler Higbee, 3 touchdown catches, victimizing linebackers, motion, Eagles missing tackles. Jared Goff, 9.9 yards per pass attempt. These are staggering numbers against a group that we thought the defense was going to, rise to the occasion. Four more touchdowns allowed and 5 trips to the red zone by the defense after a 3 of 4 performance last week by the Washington football team. The Eagles need something really good to happen here. Like you said, there's just not a spark.
Dave, I want to go to the other side. You brought up some of the numbers on the defensive side, but you look at this offense, the game plan this week, certainly a lot different than what we saw a week ago against Washington. Instead of it being deep shot down the field, you saw a lot of underneath stuff, and then they started to open it up a little bit more in the second half. Carson Wentz, a handful of misses in the second half that honestly he just can't have, especially when they're working from behind, trying to get back into this football game. What did you make of the game from Carson Wentz?
Concerted effort to get the football out of his hands, so I thought he did a better job of that. But he missed some receivers and turned the ball over another couple of times here. 3 more turnovers by the Eagles offense. That's 6 in 2 games. So just not, they tried to incorporate Jalen Hurts, 3 plays, moved him around the formation as a decoy. There were times when the Eagles really showed great tempo. They tried to get, up to the line of scrimmage quickly, get the offense going. Seemed to work. You referenced the interception in the end zone, a throw to Arcega-Whiteside that was just not there. You had to make a perfect throw to thread the needle there. And I thought until that point, Carson had done a nice job of taking what the defense was giving him. I felt on that play, he got a little bit greedy. And, the fact that the Eagles were able to claw their way back into the game after being down 21-3, admirable. That play, coupled with the Rams coming right down the field and scoring, just took the wind out of the sails here. There's things that I see with this team that are very concerning. After a giveaway, the defense is not getting off the field. The defense is not stopping anybody in the red zone. The offense is not producing consistent big plays. They got the running game going a little bit today. That was nice, but nothing big. A 22-yard pass on a blitz to Miles Sanders, nice. Deshaun Jackson, 25-yard gain, catch and run, nice. But nothing over the top. I get it. It's against the screen, zone defense. I get that. You take what they give you. But too many turnovers. The defense not getting stops. The defense not changing the momentum of the game. Not taking the football away in 2 games. These are all very significant concerns.
Yeah, I got to agree with you, Dave. I think you hit a lot of stuff with the nail. The hammer right on the nail there, man. On both sides of the football, I just see a football team that doesn't look like they are clicking on all cylinders. Now, I don't know if it's because a lot of guys missed training camp due to injuries or rest or what have you. I'm not making an excuse. I just see sloppy play out there on the field on both sides of the football. You touched on a lot of that in what you just said, whether it was miscommunication on the defensive side, guys' eyes in the wrong place, not being disciplined, things they seemingly did well last week, but didn't do well this week against this Rams offense where you really have to be disciplined on defense with your assignments. And on offense, lack of explosiveness and the quarterback for 2 straight weeks not being a true difference maker in a positive manner. You can easily tell why the team is 0-2. There are a lot of things to point to over 2 weeks where this team needs to improve. I will say the offensive line after last week did a nice job bouncing back this week.
Yeah, hey, Ike, I got a couple questions for you. Number one, we all thought coming into the season that the Eagles would be in a great position having the coaching staff coming back intact. That has not proven to be the case. I'd like you to comment on that in just a moment. And then, was today an example of Sean McVay going after the Eagles linebackers? Tyler Higbee, 3 touchdown catches for a tight end, runs directly into the middle of the Eagles defense. Darrell Henderson breaking it big. Do you feel like McVay went after the Eagles linebackers today?
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. I mean, this is his 3rd time going up against Jim Schwartz. And even though the Eagles have gone 3-0 against Los Angeles, Sean McVay's offenses have been able to put numbers up against this defense. And typically, the Eagles play good run defense. That's probably the biggest thing I was surprised with today, was that they didn't play solid run defense. I don't know if it's guys not in the proper gaps. I think we're a little light, Dave, Fran, Amy, on the back end of this defense. When you look at the back 7 of this defense, where is the beef? If that defensive line doesn't do a great job of getting off the offensive line and getting to the running back, when you get to our back 7, where is the size, the strength to be able to get off blocks and get ball carriers on the ground? Jalen Mills he may be tough in nature, but he's still 190 pounds. And so when you're going up against a guy like Malcolm Brown, a guy who gets behind his shoulder pads and runs downhill, he's going to run through those arm tacklers. That's where Malcolm Jenkins was very good at. We already know our linebackers aren't very big. And then Rodney Mcleod is not very big either. So I look up the middle of our defense. We don't have much size there. And what I saw today was that the Rams were able to get downhill and really just out-physical our front 7. And I think that's a concern moving forward.
And then finally, I have a question for everybody. I mean, what's with did the Eagles not expect Jared Goff to bootleg? Did they not expect misdirection? I mean, it was like, you know, he was just creating space the entire first half before the Eagles made some kind of adjustment. But guys, it looked to me like they had no idea that these boots were coming, that this play-action bootleg game was coming.
And that's what, when you look at that scheme and trying to move Goff off of his spot, get him outside the pocket, those are the things that we talked about last week for the Eagles with Carson Wentz against Washington, against that defensive line. Get him outside the pocket, get him away from that pass rush. That's why when I look at this game and I say, man, like, no, you know, very little pressure on Jared Goff. To me, that's more about McVay's scheme and what the positions that they were able to put Jared Goff in. They constantly have him rolling away from the pressure after a run fake, so the defense is going after the back, and he's going out, and it's an easy throw. It's a high-low read. If this guy's open, I'm throwing it to him. If not, it's going to a check down, and that guy's running for 8 yards. Like, it happened way too often, time after time again. And then everything off of that, like, again, we talked about it on Eagles game plan. They run the play action, they go to the boot, and then they throw a screen to Cooper Kupp for 30 yards. They were dialing up all of the right calls, and the Eagles just had no answers.
Great points by everybody. A really great conversation. And just to touch one more time on Jared Goff's numbers, completed 20 out of 27 passes. And like we said, a 13 out of 13 start, 74%, 267 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a QB rating of 142. So absolutely an outstanding. This Eagles defense really made him look pretty good today. All right, Dave, we are going to let you go. I'm really looking forward to listening to your podcast later for continued analysis on this one. Thanks so much for joining us.
All right. Thank you, guys. Tough one today here at Lincoln Financial Field.
Yeah, definitely. We are all feeling it. I can only imagine how it feels in there, and I'm definitely interested to see the press conferences from Coach Doug Peterson and from some of the players, which we will have live here. But let's continue this conversation. Ike, let's get to your takeaways. What's your first one?
Well, my first one, Amy, Fran, this team got off to a slow start. I thought playing at home in their first game at Lincoln Financial Field, they come out with a little more energy. Regardless if you have fans there or not, the fact that you're playing in your home stadium, you got to be able to create some energy. And I thought we came out flat. You know, Los Angeles is the team that came from the West Coast to the East Coast, and they're playing at 1 o'clock, which is 10 a.m. on the West Coast. That should be an advantage for the Eagles. Instead, the Eagles seemed like the team that wasn't awake at 1 o'clock when it was time to kick the ball off, and the Rams were ready to go. I mean, it started the first series of the game. you fumble the ball, and then it seemed like the Eagles couldn't do anything defensively to slow down Jared Goff and Sean McVay on that offensive side of the ball, hitting Tyler Higbee time and time again, Cooper Kupp on third downs. Really, I mean, before the Eagles realized what hit them, it was 21-3, and the first quarter was over with. I think that was a huge advantage for the Rams. They got off to a fast start. The Eagles weren't ready to go. And 21-3 in this league, although it's not an insurmountable lead, man, it is very difficult to come back from that because you have to expand so much energy with the defensive stops, and offensively, you almost have to be perfect just to get back in the game. And, I mean, when the Eagles got within 5 points, they weren't perfect on the play that they needed to be perfect on, and that was the throw to J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, where Carson, just a little late there. He has the ability to make that throw, just didn't make an accurate throw, and that really took the wind out of the sail for this team. Slow start that they couldn't overcome, Amy and Fran.
Well, Ike, when you talk about, that deficit at the beginning, that slow start, and then they start getting a little bit momentum heading into the half, they're able to capitalize on that turnover, start on the opposing 11-yard line, turn that into a touchdown, go into halftime. Rams get the ball, they force a 3-and-out, and they're driving down the field. I'm thinking, okay, my fairy tale brain says this is going to be exactly like last week's game, but in the other direction. And then, of course, there was that killer interception into the end zone that Carson Wentz threw right where there was that opportunity to really build some momentum. It seemed like every time, Fran, they started to get a little bit of momentum, there was a costly error that just took the wind out of their sails.
And it's not one consistent issue, as it very rarely is in football, right? It's very rare that we can sit back and say, all right, it was this consistent theme that lost them the game. On that interception, without watching the film and just seeing the angles they showed us on TV, it seemed like he's rolling to his left and he's got a couple of receivers at his disposal on that play side. And that backside post is almost like, break glass in case of emergency kind of throw. Now, again, it's like what we talked about with Carson holding on to the football with those sacks last week. You like the aggressiveness. You like a guy that is willing to pull the trigger on that tough throw down the field where maybe you don't necessarily need it, but it has that chance to be a huge play. But it's got to be a perfect throw in that scenario, and in that scenario, it wasn't. And obviously, it gets picked off. And even if it wasn't picked off, JJ is going to take a huge shot from the safety coming back across the field as well. So, either way, it didn't seem like it was going to be a positive play for the Eagles there. And as you guys mentioned, you guys have used the term, took the wind right out of the sails of that Eagles offense. Only a field goal in the last 2 quarters of play. After that strong finish to the first half, they seem to have some momentum. They come out, they get that 3-and-out. Amy, just like you said, it seemed like, all right, we're getting back into the groove of this thing. And the wheels fell off.
And I just want to mention Carson Wentz's stat line, 26 of 43, but really the 242 yards, completed 60%, a QB rating of 56.5. But the big number here is the 2 interceptions, and now he has 4 in 2 games when last season he had 7 combined. So definitely, I haven't seen this version of Carson before. Ike, have you?
No. I mean, not since his rookie year where he threw, I believe, 14 interceptions. It's the only year he's thrown double-digit interceptions. We know right now, this crazy pace, he's on his way to throwing 32 interceptions this year. You're in Jameis Winston country there. Nobody throws 30 interceptions in the season. But in all seriousness, it's something that he needs to get corrected. When he typically has to force the issue or he feels the need to force the issue, that's where interceptions come. You look at most of his interceptions after his rookie season, they've come in games where they either have been down or he's trying to make a play where there isn't a play to be made. And that's something that we don't typically see from Carson. It just creeps his head up every now and then. I certainly hope, Amy and Fran, that this is not a trend for the 2020 season. Because you can't win many football games if your quarterback is turning the ball over.
Well, everybody hopes it's not a trend, and I don't know how team Let the Bronco Buck is feeling about this right now. Maybe there needs to be a little bit more of a rein on that Bronco right now. But Ike, let's get to your next takeaway.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Amy. We got to pull him back in, pull him in. My second takeaway is the defense today. I thought the defense really put the team overall in a hole by not being able to get off the field on third down. I think at one point the Rams were either 7 for 7 or 8 for 8 on third down conversions. We talked about Jared Goff getting off on a 13 for 13 completion. He was never rattled until late in that first half. They didn't get any pressure on him. Big plays, things that we aren't.
All right, Ike, I hate to cut you off, but we have head coach Doug Peterson ready for his press conference. Here's the head coach.
Bo and then Paul Domowitch.
Hey, Doug. You got to turn that volume down. Can you explain to us the decision not to accept the field goal after the penalty instead of going for it on 4th and 3?
Yeah, well, I felt at that time we had some momentum. Took the ball down the field. It was going to be like a 4th and 3, I believe, and wanted to keep it to a one score game at that particular point. It felt like we had some momentum and made the choice to keep the points on the board.
Damo and then Pat Gallen.
Yeah, Doug, I think they ended up with 191 rushing yards. For a play-action team like that, that obviously is tough. What was the biggest problem dealing with their run game today?
Well, until again, as you guys know, until we can look at the tape and really look at it, it looked like it was just a downhill rushing attack. They did do some things on the they're a stretch running team and they did some things on the perimeter to us and got outside. But it's with all the moving parts on offense with the jet sweeps and the different things that they do and the tosses, it's something we've got to do a better job of. We definitely pride ourselves here in stopping the run, and we didn't do a very good job today.
Pat and then Rob Motti.
Doug, can you take us into Carson's interception in the end zone? That seemed like a big momentum changer. What did you see there, and were you able to discuss that with Carson?
I believe it was 1st and 10, and just wanted to get Carson out of the pocket on the play, and again, just a situation where we just got to continue to keep working. If plays are not there, don't look to try to make something happen. Just throw the ball away in that situation or run. And unfortunately, it was a turnover in the end zone, and we're just going to continue to correct and move forward.
Rob and then John McMullen.
Doug, overall, what did you think of Carson's performance today? It looked like there were some opportunities to make plays, but without seeing the film and knowing what the intentions were. What did you think overall?
Well, I thought there were some good plays there, some good decisions. He did a nice job, handling the run game with some of the checks that we had going on, and got us in and out of some throws from the standpoint of bad defenses into good positive plays. So he handled the game that way. The one thing, again, that we all have to take a look at, especially offense, is just the turnovers. We had the fumble early, and then of course the interceptions, and that's kind of been I think these first 2 weeks of the regular season. That's been the sort of the tail of the tape.
John and then Dave Zangaro.
Hey, Doug. You lost Isaac Seumalo in the game. You got Lane Johnson back. As a whole, how do you think the offensive line held up coming off last week? And obviously, from a sack pass protection standpoint, it seemed a lot better.
Yeah, I thought they overall, played well, played better than the week before, and again, it's a good defensive front that we played. We know Aaron Donald is a tremendous football player, and our guys handled him and what they were doing, really well. So, hats off to those guys. They worked hard during the week to prepare for that, and I thought overall did a nice job.
Dave and then Jeff McLean.
Hey, Doug, after that, the decision to kick that field goal or keep the field goal, the Rams drive 75 yards on 3 plays. What happened on that drive, and how disheartening is that you put your faith in your defense and they can't hold up there?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. We had some momentum. We got the 3 points, and I believe we got it to a 5 or 6 point game at that particular time, something like that, and really felt like the momentum was on our side, and defense was eager and ready to go back back out on the field, which just needed to find a way to get a stop at that particular time and get the offense out, and that's the one thing we'll take a look at, and we've got to do better there. We've got to coach it better and play better in those situations to where everybody understands that you get one stop in those situations and give it back to your offense. You got a chance to take the lead on maybe the next possession.
Jeff McLean and Tim McManus.
Doug, Deshaun Jackson wasn't targeted in the first half, and then it seemed like you guys did a job. We're conscious of getting him involved in the second half. What was the meaning, or why wasn't he involved so early?
Well, we had a couple things designed up early. Ball just didn't go his way from a progression standpoint. Made a conscious effort at halftime as one of our adjustments to get him going in the second half, and felt like we did a good job there. He's an explosive guy that can make some plays. So a little bit was the coverage. Other times it was play design. The ball was going somewhere else, but we'll continue to get him involved with the offense.
Tim and then Chris Franklin.
Hey, Doug, what went into the decision to bring Jalen Hurts up to the number 2 QB this week after having him inactive week 1? And then what did you see of the 3 plays that you had him in there?
Well, the decision, we always do, what we feel sometimes is best for the football team each and every week. And we felt this week with him up, they could give us an opportunity to possibly use him, in those situations that we did. And obviously he went in, executed them well. And, it's a starting point. It's something that we'll evaluate each week.
Chris and then Martin Frank.
Hey, Doug, it looked like you guys had about 6 or 7 passes that went above longer than 15 yards, and it looked like a lot of stuff was underneath. Was it a concerted effort heading into this week to try to go with the short passing game, or was it something that the Rams secondary and back end did to prevent that from happening?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little of both. The other thing, too, is, when you got such a good player, Aaron Donald, on the other side, you want to make sure that you're not back there necessarily holding the ball or having lengthy routes where it's, more 5 and 7 steps. So, the quick passing game, get Carson on the edge, movement stuff, to allow him to see the defense. And, we had some success there in the first half with that. And, kind of came out in the second half and did the same thing. Again, got Deshaun involved a little bit more, but it's week to week. The way game plans are constructed, we just today just didn't make enough. We need to hang on to the football a little bit better.
Time for 2 more, so let's go Martin and then Nick Fierro. Martin, you're on mute. Go ahead, Nick.
Damn. All right. Hey, Doug, how concerned are you about the defense going back to the second half against Washington? I mean, you guys have allowed 64 points in the last 6 quarters.
Well, listen, it's it's not about one player or one unit. The offense has to do their part, obviously, and not turn the football over. And we got to put points on the board when we have opportunities. Field goals are great, but when we get into the red zone like that, it's we got to come away with more scores, touchdowns, and then the defense has a part in that too. I mean, they pride themselves on getting off the field and trying to help the offense. These things go hand in hand. It's not one unit, one guy. It's things we got to address. We got to address them quickly.
Last one here with Nick, and then we'll get Carson in.
Hi, Doug. Just staying with the defense. You've had a lot of turnover over the last couple of years, with a lot of your key players, most recently Malcolm, Kamuku, Hill. Do you think things are maybe starting to catch up with you and you need to get these new players more up to speed?
I didn't understand. Like the turnover of players? I don't understand the question.
You've had a lot of defensive turnover over the last couple of years. you're replacing some key players. Malcolm most recently, Camus Grugier-Hill. You've had some guys, in the year before. Is this kind of caught up to you think?
No, I mean every year you're going to have turnover. I mean that's just the way this league is, and the way the business goes. For us, we do have some young players in some of those roles, right? I mean, you look at linebacker, there are some young players there. Receivers, we got some young players there, and we're playing with some young offensive linemen. So, I mean that's going to happen. That's part of this business, and we can't. I don't think you can just hang on the fact that these guys are young anymore. I mean, we're coaching them each week, and we're getting them prepared to play, and now they just have to go out and play games. The more, obviously, game experience they get, the better they get, and these players will help our offense and also help our defense. One of the areas you're seeing some of the young players shine is obviously on special teams, and they're doing a heck of a job there.
Coach.
All right, that's head coach Doug Peterson's thoughts after the game, and we are waiting any minute now for Carson Wentz to be joining us for a press conference. And I think probably the big thing that stood out to me from listening to Doug Peterson's press conference was just about the offensive line and their performance. That look, they really handled Aaron Donald well, and looking at the stat sheet based on everything we talked about coming into this game with Aaron Donald and everything we had seen. And
hey,
let's
Carson,
hear
thanks
from Carson.
for taking the time today. We'll get started with Les Bowen and then Zach Berman.
Hey, Carson. The interception when you're trying to get the ball to JJ, and just overall the way the offense hasn't been able to really establish itself consistently this season. What's going on? What did you see?
Yeah, the interception, they made a great play. I got out on the naked there to the left, and they had us covered pretty well. I got pretty aggressive, tried to force one in there. Guy made a great play, so I got to be smart in that situation. And overall, offensively, we know we're right there. At the end of the day, we had two turnovers, two interceptions and the fumble. Turning the ball over is really killing us the last 2 weeks. Those are things we know we can clean up. But other than that, we truly feel that we're right there. We're just missing some things, timing of some things. So we're not panicking. We know what we got to clean up, and we will.
Zach and then Jeff Skaversky.
Hey, Carson, so what is the issue with the turnovers? Is it timing? Is it trying to make a play? What do you identify as the biggest issue here?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's kind of case by case. Last week it was something. Today, like I just said, I tried to force one in there, make a play when, I probably didn't need to. And so, the fumble, that Miles had, that happens. Those are things. The timing of our mistakes is really killing us right now. But we know once we get these things cleaned up, we have the potential with the pieces that we have on offense to be great, to be elite on offense. And, we're excited to get those things fixed and to start showing that we are elite.
Jeff and then Mike Kay.
Hey, Carson, obviously with the talent around this team, you guys didn't expect an 0-2 start. What is your level of frustration with the way things have gone these first 2 weeks?
I mean, we're obviously frustrated. You never want to start 0-2. Last week, the way we lost to Washington and starting 0-1, obviously not what we want and not how we expect to finish ball games. And then today, coming out behind it again, not where you want to be, but we know that there's enough things through 2 games, offensively speaking, that we can put on the tape and know, all right, we're right there. We're just missing some things. We're right there. Don't panic. We'll be okay. And I've always had all the confidence in the world in our defense. Things happen, but we're not panicking. We're excited to get back on it.
Mike and then Chris Murray.
Carson, what did you? Sorry, getting feedback here. Carson, what did you see on the throw to JJ that resulted in an interception?
Yeah, I was just moving to my left and saw JJ had a step on his guy. Really just tried to force it in there before the free safety. Obviously not what I should have done. Guy undercut it, made a great play, and that definitely we had some good momentum that drive going. We were moving the ball well. Tried to do too much, try to make a play, and obviously can't do that.
Chris and then Bo Wolf.
Yeah, Carson, what do you do to kind of clean things up with this offense? It seems like
you've been kind of inconsistent and not played a good consistent quarter throughout the first couple of games of the season.
Yeah, we got to execute. Plain and simple, we got to execute. We executed some things very well today. I thought we had some good movement up front, running the ball in our turbo type stuff, up-tempo offense. Did some good things, just not enough. Not enough, and got to protect the football. So I've said it a couple times now, but we're not panicking. The sky's not falling. There's some good things that we're doing, and we'll get back on it.
We have time for a few more, so let's go Bo, Ed, and then Jamie.
Carson, what did they do to take away the deep ball in this game?
Yeah, that's really what they did to take away the deep ball. They just played soft on the outside. They wanted to keep everything in front of them, and they did a good job of that. We had to take a lot of underneath throws and take what they were presenting and giving us, and that's kind of the style of their defense at the same time. So, we took what was there. We thought we did some good things, but we got to be creative and find ways to get the ball downfield, or just be smart and not force it like I did on the one interception.
Ed Kratz and then Jamie.
Hey, Carson. Just Deshaun Jackson didn't have his first target until the second half. Were they taking him away in the first half, or was it just a conscious decision not to go to him?
There's really no explanation, I guess. Just kind of the nature of the game. Deshaun's a guy that we always believe in, no matter who's on him and no matter where he's at. And so it was just kind of the flow of the game, how it worked out. But, he's a guy we know that scares the heck out of defenses and does a great job of creating separation and getting open. So he'll definitely be featured in our offense. It's just kind of the way it happened today in the first half.
Last one here with Jamie.
Carson, you said you guys are have all the tools to be an elite offense. So given the 0-2 start, what to you is the most disappointing factor in all of that?
I think, like you said, we do feel that we have the pieces, we have the talent, we have the guys to be an elite offense. The turnovers have been killing us. The turnovers, I got to protect the football, plain and simple. I got to own that. And, some of those things we can clean up, and the timing of the mistakes and the turnovers is really hurting us. And so we believe we can really hone in what we do and execute better and just protect the football, and we'll be just fine.
Thanks, Carson.
Thank you, guys.
All right, the Eagles quarterback reiterating, the sky is not falling, which is something that the Eagles usually say earlier in the season. At least they have the last 3 years, and they've made the playoffs every single one of those times. So the sky is not falling. We are not panicking. We are waiting for more players to join the press conference. So I am staying on my toes, ready to quickly shuffle you back over there the instant a player is ready to give a press conference. And going back to Carson Wentz and the things that he had to say. And Fran, let me get your takeaways. He says, look, we have the talent to make this work. The turnovers are where we really need to clean it up, and those are on a case-by-case basis. What's your his assessment of what's been going right and going wrong for this offense?
Yeah, he said it there at the end. I have to take better care of the football. Whether you're talking about the interceptions this week, the fumble and the interceptions last week, he has owned it and said he's got to take better care of the football. The picks this week, a little bit different than the ones from last week. But look, all of them are going to be individual cases that the coaches and Carson will all go through in the film tomorrow on Monday when they come into the NovaCare complex. But you got to get that stuff figured out before next week. And obviously they take on a Cincinnati team that's got a little bit of juice. Even though they're 0-2, they've got some juice here. That with 2 games, they feel they should be 2-0 coming into this week.
Well, yeah, and I think the Eagles also feel like they should be 2-0. 2-0-2 teams. I did not expect to be saying that when. All right, and Miles Sanders is ready for a press conference. Let's listen.
Mike Sealski and then Ed Benkin.
Hi, Miles. What reason do you guys have to believe that you can turn this around at this point, given the way things went today and the way things went last week?
It's a long season. It's pretty simple. It's not the end of the world. We still got 14 more games left. All it takes is just resiliency. Coach Doug, he always talks about that, and that's exactly the type of team we are. We had a lot of setbacks last year, and despite all the stuff that happened last year, we still made the playoffs. So I still think anything's possible, and it's still early in the season.
Ed and then Daniel.
Hi, Miles. You said you could have played last week. You got a pretty heavy workload today. Did you feel pretty fresh throughout the game? Do you feel pretty good after the game, health-wise, after really getting a pretty good workload this afternoon?
I felt good, feel fresh. I didn't take as take all the, you know, all the plays and stuff that all the other players in the league were doing during training camp. So I felt pretty fresh, but it also hurt me at the end of the day. You know, my conditioning was kind of a problem in the game, but I still, you know, just toughed it out, and you know, I'm still out there for my team. But yeah, I still feel fresh. You know, despite the fumble, I take that's on me. You know, I didn't have a training camp or like weeks of practice. This week was my only week of practice, like full practice. So that was expected, or you know, but that's on me, and it won't even happen again.
Daniel, and then Jeff McLean.
Hey, Miles, what happened on the fumble?
I honestly don't remember. I just know my ball was low, and I think somebody got a hand on it and it slipped out. But like I said, I didn't have a whole camp. I'm not making excuses either, but I didn't have a whole camp to, you know, get the hits. I didn't have no scrimmages or nothing like that. So like I said, this was my first full week of practice, and yeah, so.
Jeff, and then Rob Mahdi.
Miles, it seemed like you rebounded, though, and there were a lot of holes to run through. What, you know, how was the offensive line doing? Obviously, a patchwork group of guys. You know, what did you feel like you guys saw on film in terms of how that was developing?
The line did a hell of a job. They're blocking our ass off all weekend and today. Did a good job of you know, containing 99, and they're a two-gap offense. So I was just using the double teams, and then having the linebackers really choose. There were so many gaps that the linebackers didn't know which hole to choose. So that's why the running game was so successful. And, you know, I trust those guys with my life. So as long as they're going, and I'm right behind them, trying to make them look good.
Rob, and then John McMullen.
Miles, Carson seemed confident that you guys are an elite offense and you can get back to that if you can just clean up the turnovers. How frustrating is it to start off 0-2 when you think in your mind that you have that kind of offense and that kind of team?
Yeah, it's very frustrating. I'd be lying too if I said it wasn't. But like I said, it's a blessing that it's a long season, and like I said, we got hella opportunities week by week just to get better and you know, get some W's on the left hand of that column.
John, and then Martin Frank.
Hey, Miles, you mentioned a little bit you didn't have a summer, really, didn't have a training camp. How do you think you handled the other aspects of the game? You recovered well running the football. As far as hitting your spots as a receiver and pass protection, how do you think that went?
Well, they didn't blitz a lot. I thought they would blitz a lot despite of the struggles that we had last week, but they actually didn't. I picked up one blitz. I just felt like our the O-line, the running backs, the quarterback, tight ends, as far as protection and running the ball, I think we were actually finally on the same page compared to last week. And all we can do is just build off that.
We have time for two more, so let's go Martin and then Dave Zangaro.
Hey, Miles, how disappointing was that interception in the end zone? I mean, you guys, you know, scored the 2 touchdowns at the end of the first half, and you know, you were just about at their 20-yard line and everything. I mean, was that kind of tough for you guys to overcome?
Yeah, it's very frustrating, you know. But like I said, they got everybody's in this league for a reason. It was a hell of an interception. I mean, I think the guy dove for it, but you know, they get paid to do what they do too. But yeah, it set us back. I don't remember if they scored off that drive or not, but yeah, that definitely hurt us.
Last one here with Dave.
Hey, Miles, you mentioned that, you know, it's a long season, and Carson also said the sky isn't falling, but how do you balance that mindset with also realizing that there has to be a level of intensity and urgency right now?
Just taking it day by day, week by week, and game by game, play by play. It's very simple. We just got to get back to being us and stop doing too much and just play Eagles football.
Thanks, Miles.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, running back Miles Sanders in his season debut saying, I am not making excuses, but I didn't have a training camp. This is my first week of practice. So the fumble, look, that's just rust. And that was actually kind of my instinct when I first saw that too, because Miles did not have the fumble issues last season. Here is Jason Kelsey. Let's hear his thoughts.
Started with Nick and then Tim McManus.
Oh, hi, Jason. It looks like the protection issues that you had from last week, whether it was the line or the backs, tight ends seemed to be cleaned up today. Is that something that you could take away from this game at least?
Well, yeah, obviously, there's always going to be analysis on how the game went, and obviously last week everybody kind of took their turns messing up, whether it was blown blocks, blown assignments, whatever. The pass protection last week certainly wasn't good enough. I thought it felt pretty good out there today. Obviously, playing one of the best players in the league, Aaron Donald. There was a huge emphasis on being able to stop him. He's a game wrecker, I thought we did a pretty good job of stopping him and the majority of their players in terms of pass rush.
Tim and then Zach.
Jason, what was the game plan with Aaron Donald, and who do you credit for helping to stop him?
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't make it too difficult. Just double team him. I think he's by far, a generational talent that can wreck a game. And, you could see he's getting frustrated because he knows we're making it extra hard for him. But, I think, when you're in a position where you can double them, there's going to be times they're going to be one-on-one. And in those instances, you got to, man up, I guess. But, just try to put him in a situation where, he's not going to be able to wreck the game for us. And, we've put emphasis on that every time we played him. He's a tremendous player. I got so much respect for that guy. I think that obviously Stout's the one that builds all these protection plans and everything. So, and obviously we throw our 2 cents in throughout the week. And by game time, we got a pretty solid plan of attack.
Zach and then Chris Murray.
Hey, Jason, big picture. I know it's only 2 games, but 0-2 is not a good haul. What do you view yourselves big picture? How do you look at it?
I try not to look at it big picture. Obviously, very frustrating to be 0-2, but it's on to next week. I think it's only gonna stop when we start winning games, and I don't think it really behooves you to look too far past our next opponent, which is the Cincinnati Bengals. Everybody's just got to try, watch the tape, get better, improve. As an individual, collectively, as a team, find out what you can do to help us take care of this. Obviously, really frustrating to be 0-2, but this is the spot we've put ourselves in. So, what's next? Well, what's next is the Cincinnati Bengals, we got to be ready to play them and try and get this thing back on track.
Jason, how difficult is it for the offense to watch another team's offense go 65, 70 yards while you guys are sitting on the field? Does that throw off the rhythm of the offense, of your offense, when you see that?
Well, obviously, we knew going in that we were going to have to try and, keep the ball, away from them. I mean, these guys, if you give them a lead early and allow them to establish all the misdirection and runs and play actions and everything that they're good at, this team has been proven to be very successful, throughout their tenure with Sean McVay. He's a great coach, he's a great schemer, and that's what they want to be in. So obviously starting off the game, receiving the football and getting a turnover and spotting them 7 points, that enables them to just stay in that situation. I think if you look at the teams that have played well against these guys, against the 49ers, against teams like this that want to do the run and play action, you try and get up on them early. You try and force their hand into getting out of what they're comfortable in, and we weren't able to do that offensively. So we made it very, very difficult for our defense. And that started from the jump with the turnover. And I think, obviously, it's frustrating to watch a defense, unfortunately not be able to get off the field on third down and go through what they went through. But part of that's on us for allowing, the Rams to dictate that. So I think offensively, we go out, we score receiving the ball, and we get off to a better start. That limits what the Rams want to do. That gets all of a sudden it puts them in the position of trying to change up what their bread and butter is. So, that's on us offensively.
Time for one more here, so let's go Ed Kratz.
Hey, hi, Jason. Matt Pryor came into the game, and how do you think he did? And how does the team go from 8 sacks last week to 0 this week?
Well, I think that, obviously the 8 sacks, don't get me wrong, the offensive line played nowhere near what we're, what we expect to play and what our level of where we want to be at last week was not there. But there was everybody to share in those 8 sacks. I think that obviously we didn't do well, but, between offensive line, running backs, tight ends, quarterbacks, I think everybody kind of shared a little bit to blame last week. This week, we had a great game plan, and guys did their jobs. We got better. That's the whole motto of this season. Everybody, between the backs, the offensive line, the quarterback, everybody was doing a much better job this week at pass protection and facilitating a successful situation from the pocket. And I think that that's not just us. That's everybody. And I think, that's all you're trying to do. You're all just trying to get better, trying to do your job just a little bit better. Coaches, players, everybody. And, we did that in pass protection this week. But, obviously wasn't good enough to get a win. And that's the end goal for all of this. So just going to keep on, watching the tape, keep on learning, keep on getting better. And, we got next week coming up here with the Bengals. All right, guys.
That's Eagles center Jason Kelce with his thoughts after the game. We are expecting Brandon Graham any minute to take his press conference. And here he is.
Hey, BG, thanks for taking the time today. We'll get started with Mike Sealski and then Bo Wolf.
Hi, Brandon. Big picture, where do you feel like you guys are at 0-2? Is this dire yet, or is this something that you guys feel confident you can really get turned around?
Confident that we can turn this around. When you look at certain parts of the game, you like, okay, we don't beat ourselves in certain situations. We getting off the field on defense, and then we can't give up the ball, and then on defense we gotta have the offense back. We just gotta stick together, and I believe that we gonna do that.
Well, Bo and then Al Thompson.
Brandon, you guys have played them in that scheme before and had more success. Did they do anything differently today? It just didn't look like you guys were quite as prepared.
No, I mean, we knew how they was gonna play us. We knew that they like to, play left and right. And we almost had them playing our game, going straight drop back. But I know that they did a good job. They the best, at doing, having a lot of distraction out there. And coach, harped on it all week. We got to stop. The boots, we got to stop the stretch game, and today it came down to those little things. I had some in there too myself where when they popped on them runs, I'm holding myself accountable. I missed on some because I was playing the boot because they've been doing it all game, and it got me frustrated. But I can't do that being the leader of this team, so I'm just holding myself accountable. But I do know that, there's something that can be fixed, and I'm excited, being the leader, one of the leaders on these teams. I just know that we got a lot that we can, make up for. All we got to do is start getting the winning column.
Al, and then Paul Domowitch. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, Brandon, their misdirection game is pretty good. How difficult is it to deal with that? And then they come back and hit you with that up the middle play to Henderson, or I forget which running back. But I mean, just how challenging is that offense to play against?
You know what? It's a challenge, but it's something that we, have been successful in. We just had to stay true to who we were and reading our keys and staying true as defensive end. We had to close down and make sure that we squeezed the gap. And we did it for most of the game. But those big plays happen when you try to do something different. And so we can't get frustrated by their game plan. We got to make sure that we continue to stay doing those little things on what we do as a defense and how we play, and we should be fine. But I do think it's everything that happened today was self-inflicted, and of course they came out and they executed, and they won the game. But I know that we can get a lot of stuff right, because I love our spirit, I love our fight. We was right there, and then the turnover happened, but we could still have Carson's back if we get off the field to give him the ball back. But that didn't happen. They scored again, and we just couldn't stop the bleed.
Al, and then please.
All right, Brandon, as one of the leaders on this team, the turnover ratio on both sides of the ball is not where it needs to be for you guys to be successful. As one of the leaders, can it be your place to address the entire team? We have to get better in this area because it's just not happening right now.
That's what's cool about this team. You know, a lot of guys already been talking to each other, you know, about what we seen out there today, what we didn't like on certain stuff. And, you know, we ready to get that thing right. You know, whatever it is that, you know, we see, we try to address it. And that's what I love with this team right now because, you know, through adversity, people start to point the finger, but that's not us. A lot of guys owned up to what they did today, and, you know, we moving on because the sky is not falling, like Coach said, and we're down 2. We put ourselves in this position, but we can definitely get it out if and you know, we didn't work this hard all off season to turn our back on each other, you know, right now. We just need to stay focused, stay working hard, and you know we fighters and we not gonna give up. And I love you know, just that about us, and we got to keep that, and I think we will.
Last question here with Marcus.
Brandon, you've got 3 #1 picks, two big-time free agents on a defensive line. You guys have had to absorb some turnover of the football and a lot of turnover of the personnel, but it seems like your defensive line in the first 2 games should be more productive. That's where so many resources are spent. How do you I guess reflect on that and the job you guys have done in the last 8 quarters?
Well, you know, we figure for us, we hold ourselves accountable. We're the engine of this defense, and we got to make sure that we step it up some. And you know, I think that you know, you're right, man. We can be more dominant. You know, and I think it's just gonna start in practice like we've been doing. Just got to keep working. Can't get frustrated when teams try to play you a different way. You know, and we just got to get it done. And I think we will. I know we will. You know, and I'm not worried. I'm excited actually because, you know, when a lot of adversity hit, you know, a lot of people, you know, definitely give up on you. But that's not this team. We still gonna fight, and we still got a lot of greatness ahead of us. And you know, we believe, and that's all that matters. We gonna make sure we get it right.
Thanks, PG.
Appreciate you.
Okay, clearly the sky is not falling is a Doug Peterson mantra with several guys coming out of the locker room saying that. And look, it's true. And Brandon Graham, always optimistic, truly a guy who believes this team can bounce back. All right, now any second now, Rodney Mcleod is going to be joining us. There he is. Okay.
John McMullen and then Jeff McLean.
Hey, Rod. Obviously, we talked a lot all week about the Rams and their misdirection, and looks like you guys won a lot of big nickel with Marcus out there. How do you think it all went?
I mean, we came up short today. We lost. Our goal was to stop the run. Our goal was to eliminate the boot game. We understood, you know, they would do a lot of misdirections, jet motions, screens, and we didn't execute to the best of our abilities today. And we have to own that right now. We consider ourselves a good run defense and a good overall defense. And today, we failed to do that. We gave up too many touchdowns, not enough turnovers. We're behind the sticks a lot on first and second down, which put them in position where, you know, we were faced with a lot of 3rd and 2s, a lot of 3rd and 3s, and that's challenging to win. But overall, we were unsuccessful today. And we got to get back to work. That's all you can do in this moment. You have to wear this on your sleeve, understand who we are and where we are at this point in time, and you know, go back to work and prepare for Cincinnati.
Jeff and then Jamie.
Ronnie, were you surprised by anything you saw from the Rams today on offense in terms of their play calling?
No, it was identical to what we practiced. This was one of those games where you had to play fundamentally sound, disciplined ball, trust in one another, whether that's, you know, the D-line, holding up there in the bargain, standing their gaps to us in the back end, understanding how they're going to attack us in what areas and where we need to be. I feel like we started to chase plays rather than being in the moment and you know, trusting one another consistently. we did, battle back and put ourselves in good position, but failed to finish the game in that fourth quarter.
Jamie and then Dave.
Rodney, you guys probably consider yourselves an elite defense. So given that, what is the most frustrating thing to you with the 0-2 start?
That we're much better than, the results. We put in a lot of work. Like I said, last week we started off fast. This week we started slow and put ourselves behind. But still, both times we managed to fall short in that fourth quarter. And so, we just have to look ourselves in the mirror and figure out, what we're doing. We need to give a little bit more of ourselves, whatever that looks like individually. And then collectively, we just have to put a complete game together, particularly on defense. I can't speak on what goes on the other side of the ball, but defensively, we need to do our part. We need to play stingy defense.
We have time for a few more, so let's go Dave, Les, and Zach.
Rod, you mentioned some guys started to chase plays a little bit. How do you prevent that? And why does that happen in a game where the team you're playing does kind of exactly what you expect them to?
It's frustrating. The Rams and what they do, they hit you with, the stretch, and then they convert it with a boot, and then they run a screen. You're constantly, just unconventional style offense, I would say, at this day and age and where we are. And we knew that coming in, and that was the task at hand and what we needed to do. Myself included, a couple plays. You're playing the last play rather than playing the play at hand and what you see right in front of you. So we have to make sure moving forward, man, we just be present, focus on the play at hand, get the job done, and that'll put us in good position to win these games.
Les and then Zach.
Hey, Rodney, is there a problem in the defense with knowing where everybody is supposed to be pre-snap? The linebackers in particular seem to be out of position a lot. What did you see?
No, I think, guys knew exactly where they needed to be. The Rams, they do a lot of up-tempo style offense. They get to the line very quick, get in their spots. Either they go on first down or they're trying to figure out what defense you're in, and they go on too. So we understood that. We had our adjustments for speed breaks versus, if they gave us, normal offense. So I don't think that rattled us. I don't think that played a factor. It was more so us executing consistently, for 60 minutes. And like I said, we started off slow, battled back, and then we couldn't close this game out when our team needed us.
Hey, Rodney, fourth quarter there, Doug Peterson, he declines the penalty on the field goal. It's a 5-point game, and the defense comes out and the Rams score on 3 plays. What happened in that sequence in particular?
Repeat that again.
The sequence when they scored on a 3-play drive, it started with the 40-yard run by Henderson, and then Higbee caught the 38-yard touchdown. But that 3-play drive there, what happened?
Just not in our gaps. Gap responsibility. We all have to play that play, and that's what I'm talking about. It was nothing that the Rams did. It was all self-inflicted and us not being where we needed to be. And we can't give up explosive runs or explosive passes. They get the 40-yard run. Obviously, we get them down, and now our back's against the wall. We're trying to fight, and they run what we call flagrant, sneak the tight end out, and we just have to have good eyes and disciplined football, and that's what this game was today, and we were the undisciplined team.
Thanks, Rodney.
And Rodney Mcleod continuing to use his platform for social justice, wearing that Breonna Taylor sweatshirt that you just saw there. All right, we are going to take a quick break. On the other side, it's Fran's Breakdown, the Ricoh Review, featuring a Dallas Goedert play, along with the nominees for the Toyota Player of the Week. Stay with us.
Furniture.
All right, welcome back to the Postgame Show presented by Ricoh. It's now time for the Ricoh Review, and Fran Duffy is going to bring us Jalen Hurts' first play as an Eagle. Take a look.
Well, all offseason, we have been waiting to see how the Eagles would be using quarterback Jalen Hurts in this offense. Would he be working by himself? Would he be working alongside Carson Wentz? Well, here on Sunday, we got a little bit of an answer here as we got to see Jalen Hurts, a big part of the offense in the opening half. A couple of plays here where he served as eye candy for the Eagles offense. This is the very first time we're seeing him. Here he is with quarterback Carson Wentz under center. You're going to see Jalen Hurts to his right with Miles Sanders flanked to his left. So what we're going to see here is basically a triple screen by the Eagles offense. You're going to throw Miles Sanders out to the left side. You're going to put Jalen Hurts out to the right. Carson Wentz is going to drop back and pump fake to both players, try and get the defense to widen out, create a huge void in the middle of the field where Dallas Goedert is going to sneak right up the seam. So we'll just let this play out. Carson Wentz is going to take the snap. He's going to throw the pump fake to his left, throw another to his right. I've seen the Kansas City Chiefs do this time and time again with Travis Kelce, and that's exactly what they do here to open up the seam for Dallas Goedert. Carson Wentz drops back and hits Goedert over the middle of the field. It's a first down and helps set up the Eagles' first touchdown of the game. They go down 21-9 in the first quarter.
And now is your chance to vote for the Toyota Player of the Week. Go to PhiladelphiaEagles.com/Toyota Player of the Week to cast your vote and get a chance at a brand new Toyota. This week's nominees: Eagles linebacker TJ Edwards, defensive end Brandon Graham, and running back Miles Sanders. And Fran and Ike, I'm going with Brandon Graham on this one. Of course, it was exciting to see him on the field after he had been in the concussion protocol this week. Oh, he had the sack of Jared Goff, the lone sack of the game. But let me read you this tweet from Chris Long as well, giving BG some love. Former Eagle Chris Long says, BG saves a TD. No stat for it. Don't be the box score pass rush watcher. Making his presence felt on and off the stat sheet. That's my pick. What about you, Ike?
Yeah, good job by BG getting a hand on Jared Goff's elbow to force that high throw to that wide open Henderson in the end zone. But I got to be honest with you, Amy. Of the three candidates, I know TJ made that big play to help set up a touchdown to get the Eagles back in the game, but I just don't want to give it to either of these guys. I mean, the defense played poorly today. TJ's a part of the defense. Miles Sanders fumbled early in the game, put the Rams in scoring position. I'm going to go off the board here a little bit. I'm going to go with the offensive line. Big bounce back week for them. Did a nice job in the run game for Miles Sanders and Boston Scott. And guess what? No sacks on Carson Wentz today, I believe. Was able to keep the quarterback clean. Can't say the offensive line was any cause for the miscues today from the quarterback or the running back. So I would give it to the O-line.
And Aaron Donald, 4 games against the Eagles, has yet to get a sack, so definitely offensive line deserves a lot of love. Fran, are you going to take one of the 3 nominees that we have been given, or do you want to make something up as well?
Well, I mean, Ike, I just can't believe you didn't give it to TJ Edwards. He gets a forced fumble on special teams. I would thought, like, you know, the special teams Pro Bowler, oh, you'd be all over this. Surprising, but I definitely get where you're coming from, Mike, and I 100% agree with you about the offensive line. To me, one of the things that I'm excited to kind of put on display tomorrow is the fact that the offensive line was able to get so much movement in the run game. A bunch of those Miles Sanders runs, you could see the double teams working up to the second level, getting movement at the line of scrimmage. To me, that was a big part of why the run game was able to be so successful. But with that being said, if I'm going to vote for one of these 3, I am going to give it to Miles Sanders just because he makes his return. He has that critical fumble on the opening drive. I'd like to see him own that with the media this week, say like, hey, I got to be better than that. Got to protect the football. But when you're talking about Miles Sanders, what he means to this offense, we got to see that today. Just under 100 yards rushing, did reach the end zone. To me, if I'm going to of those 3, I'm going to give it to Miles Sanders. But that's like with a little bit of a tip of the cap to the offensive line as well.
Well, and hopefully now Miles has his legs under him. He's had a game, and he's going to be moving forward without, it sounds like he feels confident that he's not going to be making those same mistakes again. All right, we are going to be looking ahead and moving forward, and next week the Bengals are coming to Philadelphia for a 1 p.m. kickoff. Press Taylor will be making his return, as well as he is the head coach there in Cincinnati. And the Bengals also 0-2 after a loss to the Browns, 35-30 on Thursday Night Football. We will, of course, be covering everything for you, starting with the kickoff show, which will be 45 minutes before kickoff now. So we'll be right here at 12:15 with Fran Duffy, and then again after the game, the postgame show presented by Ricoh, myself, Fran, and Ike. We do it every week. You know the drill at this point. We hope to see you next week. Until then, have a great week.